An unidentified serial killer who operated in Northern California in the late 1960s targeted young couples and a lone male cab driver. This killer claimed to have committed 37 serial murders, but investigators agree on 7 confirmed assault victims, 5 of whom died and 2 survived. On July 4, 1969, a mysterious man shoots Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau while they're parked at a lover's lane in Vallejo, California. Mike is the only one who survives the attack. 1 month later, the San Francisco Chronicle receives coded letters from the killer who calls himself Zodiac. He threatens to kill a dozen people unless the newspaper publishes his message containing his identity. Robert Graysmith, a political cartoonist, correctly guesses that the killer's identity is not in the message. However, he isn't taken seriously by crime reporter Paul Avery or the editors, and they don't involve him in the initial details about the killings. When the newspaper publishes the letters, a married couple manages to decode one of them. In September, the killer stabs law student Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard at Lake Berryessa in Napa County. Sadly, Cecilia passes away 2 days later. At the office, Avery mocks Graysmith before they talk about the coded letters. Graysmith decodes the letter, which Avery finds useful, and he starts sharing information. One thing Graysmith notices about the letters is that when Zodiac calls man the most dangerous animal of them all, it's a nod to the movie The Most Dangerous Game, where the villain Count Zaroff hunts humans. 2 weeks later, a taxi driver named Paul Stein is shot and killed in the Presidio Heights neighborhood of San Francisco. The Zodiac killer sends pieces of Stein's bloodstained shirt to the Chronicle along with a mocking letter. San Francisco police inspectors Dave Toschi and his partner Bill Armstrong are put on the case by Captain Marty Lee and collaborate with investigators from Vallejo and Napa. Someone who says they're the Zodiac killer continues to send mocking letters and even speaks on the phone with lawyer Melvin Belli during a TV talk show. In 1971, detectives Toschi, Armstrong, and Mullenix interview Arthur Lee Allen, a suspect in the Vallejo case. They notice that he wears a watch with the same Zodiac logo used by the killer, leading Toschi to believe he could be the culprit. However, a handwriting expert concludes that Allen didn't write the Zodiac letters, despite rumors that he's ambidextrous. Avery, a journalist, receives a threatening letter, which makes him paranoid. He turns to drugs and alcohol for solace. Avery shares information with the Riverside Police Department suggesting the killer might have struck before the initial murders, which upsets Toschi and Armstrong. The intense publicity surrounding the case takes a toll on Toschi, who finds it difficult to watch the Hollywood film Dirty Harry, loosely based on the Zodiac case. By 1978, Avery has started working at the Sacramento Bee. Graysmith continues to reach out to Toschi about the Zodiac killings, and eventually, Toschi is impressed by Graysmith's understanding of the case. Although Toschi can't directly give Graysmith access to the evidence, he gives him names of contacts in other police departments where Zodiac murders took place. Armstrong leaves the San Francisco Police Homicide Division, and Toschi is demoted on suspicion of forging a Zodiac letter. Graysmith keeps investigating the Zodiac case and gets featured in the Chronicle. He also appears on TV to talk about the book he's writing on the case. Strange calls with heavy breathing start coming in, adding to his obsession. Eventually, Graysmith loses his job, and his wife Melanie leaves him with their kids. He finds out that Allen, who lived near one of the victims, might have known her, and his birthday matches one Zodiac mentioned. Although there's some evidence pointing to Allen's guilt, like his proximity to the crimes and matching birthdays, physical evidence like fingerprints and handwriting doesn't prove his involvement. In 1983, Graysmith finds Allen working at a hardware store in Vallejo, but they don't speak. 8 years later, after Graysmith's book Zodiac becomes a hit, Mike Mageau identifies Allen from a police photo. However, Allen had already passed away by then, leaving the case unresolved.